God arises on your behalf, brethren. Always remember that our Father will arise when it's time to be there for you. Don't ever believe that the Lord's position is a position of dormancy, or that his position is one that he is so far away that he knows not what you are going through in this day, but rather he will arise. In the 7th chapter, the vision of Psalm, the 6th verse, it reads, "Arise, O Lord, in thine anger. Lift up thyself because of the rage of my enemies, and awake for me to the judgment that thou hast commanded." You see, David recognized that our Father sends judgment out into this earth. And regardless how fierce or insurmountable our enemies seems to be against our soul, the Lord God is able to take care of our enemies. For he is greater than our enemies. He is the maker of everything that there is. So we know that he is greater than our enemies. But David writes, "Arise, O Lord, in thine anger," because the Lord's anger is not our anger. Our anger is different than the Lord's anger. We don't know how to righteously judge a situation because we don't know the heart of everybody that may come against us. But the Father does know. And that's why David could write and say, "Lord, in your anger, I ask that you bring judgment and against the rage of my enemies, and awake for me to the judgment that thou hast commanded." The judgment that you have commanded from heaven against my enemy, arise, bring it to pass, Lord God, as I call unto you and as I glorify you and I praise you. What a great and an honorable thing to know that our Father does not judge like we judge. So shall the congregation of the people, God's people, compass or surround thee about. For their sakes, therefore, return thou on high. Let us surround you. And let us lift up holy hands. Let us believe. Let us trust. Let us not have to pick up a sword and fight for ourselves, or pick up a gun and try to defend ourselves. But let us put our trust in thee. And thy will deliver us from all our fears. My brothers and sisters, today, you need not fear the power and the cunning of your enemy, but rather you put your trust in the hands of the Father and allow the Father to take care of business. And that he will. And that's why David had come to his wits' end. And as he wrote these Psalms, he recognized the power of his enemies, and he recognized the power of God. And he knew that the power of God was greater than any of his enemies. And he could trust and believe that ultimately he would deliver him out of all the snares, all the tricks that the enemy had planned for him. You see, the enemy is planning things when you and I sometimes are asleep or when we are unawares. That's why we should always remember that enemy of your soul, who is Satan, has no love for us. He wants to destroy us. He wants to take our lives. But we have to declare, as David did, "Arise, O Lord, in my behalf." And I say to you today, believe those words. The Lord will arise in your behalf. Stand firm, believing, and trusting His word. For my brothers and sisters, truly, we have nothing else that we can stand on in this life. For everything is shaking as sand. But we have to stand upon the rock that is immovable, and that rock, which is Christ. Put our trust in Him and know that when we call upon Him, He will arise against your enemy, my enemy. In His anger will He do it. But you put your trust in Him and let the Father do the arising as we sit and humble ourselves before Him. He will arise against our enemies. Be encouraged today in the Lord.